Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Homage to our original teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Reverend monastics, dear Buddhists, today, we are truly honored to be here for the memorial ceremony of the Venerable Abbot, the founding patriarch of Dong Dac Ancestral Temple. And on this special occasion, we also have the chance to exchange Dharma teachings with each other. Our hope is that when we come to the Buddha's teachings, we receive the profound principles from the Buddha, transmitted by the Sangha, so that we can bring these principles back to our daily lives, back to our families, back to our society, and truly find beneficial results, true peace, and true happiness. The unwavering justice of karma. Dear friends, over these past 2 days of Dharma exchange, today and yesterday, our topic has been karma and its justice. Yesterday was the first part, and today is the second. For those who heard yesterday's talk, you got the basics. Today's talk is a bit more advanced, so some of you might feel a little lost. But please just pay close attention. Because the law of karma is boundless, infinite. Whoever understands even a little bit will benefit a little bit. The higher and more supreme the saint, the deeper their understanding of karma. As for ordinary people like us, we grasp it at a more basic level, but it always holds essential value for our lives. The law of karma is an absolute principle of the universe. No matter how supreme one's spiritual practice may be, one must always be governed by the law of karma. No one can escape it. No one has the right to escape it. This is different from the worldly realm. For example, in the world, there are cases where people make laws that they themselves don't have to obey. The Buddha once asked a king, "If you issue a decree forbidding everyone from entering your royal garden, everyone must obey. But you, the king, are free to enter your own royal garden." And so, among humans, people can have laws, and they can have the right to escape those laws. However, the law of karma is not something anyone created. It's a natural principle of the universe. And within this natural principle, no power can transcend it. For example, a person who holds high power and prestige, dominating the entire world, is still governed by the law of karma. It's precisely because of certain causes and effects that such a person obtains that position and power to rule the world, not out of nothing. That is, they have sown worthy causes to enjoy that karmic reward. Conversely, a poor and unfortunate person who suffers hardship and distress is naturally subject to the law of karma. Even those with great merit cannot escape it. As for those who practice the Dharma with high virtue and lead a saintly life, these individuals are not looking to escape karma. Rather, they are people who always live in accordance with karma, always restraining themselves, because they know that every cause they create will have a corresponding karmic result. For example, if you sow a good cause, there will always be a good result. If you sow an evil cause, there will be an evil result. But the law of karma is more severe than simply sowing one cause and getting one result. Sow one cause and you get 1,000 results, 10,000 results. Often, just one word is enough to enjoy happiness for 10 lifetimes without end, to be rich and powerful for 10 lifetimes without end. Just one word. And sometimes, just one unintentional word can lead to 10 lifetimes as an animal unable to return to human form. The law of karma is so severe because we don't fully understand it. We don't know how to restrain ourselves, how to control our actions and words. We treat each other badly. We curse whoever we want to curse. We deceive whoever we want to deceive. We despise whoever we want to despise because we don't know what severe karmic results the law of karma brings. But when we understand that the law of karma is utterly just and that its karmic results are severe, we become afraid and restrain ourselves. And we always remind ourselves that we live only to love, only to sacrifice and serve, and never dare to live for ourselves anymore. Why? Because the cause of selfishness leads to the karmic result of degradation, suffering, and hardship. Therefore, anyone whose heart only seeks joy for themselves, lives for themselves, seeks profit for themselves, we know what awaits them in the future. Either a person in distress, or a hungry ghost, or suffering in hell. But if we understand karma, we restrain ourselves, and vow to live only to love people, to love all beings. Every time we speak, we are careful with our mouths, every word, not wanting to make anyone sad. Every time we interact with someone, we are cautious, afraid that others will suffer. We always want to bring joy to others. Then what awaits such a person in the future? If they return as a human, they will be a glorious and happy person. And if they don't wish to be human, they will be reborn in the heavens as a glorious and peaceful saint. Therefore, in this law of karma, when understood profoundly, we have the key to guide our lives to where we desire. The fundamental truths, suffering and happiness. In Buddhism, the most important essence taught by the Buddha is the issue of suffering and happiness. In his first discourse, after the Buddha attained enlightenment after 49 days of meditation under the Bodhi tree, he attained Buddhahood. The meaning of attaining Buddhahood is immense. When he sat under the Bodhi tree and attained Buddhahood, his mind covered and encompassed the entire universe. His wisdom penetrated the entire universe. His love enveloped all sentient beings. And at that time, he became the teacher of both gods and humans. Even the most powerful heavenly king felt small before the Buddha. We already respect human kings who hold sway over the world, but a heavenly king holds even more power. Yet, when the Buddha attained Buddhahood, the heavenly king himself saw himself as merely a small disciple of the Buddha. We see how supreme the attainment of Buddhahood is. After attaining Buddhahood, out of his great compassion, the Buddha wished to bring the Dharma to sentient beings so that they could attain peace and happiness. He thought of his 5 former companions, but he did not walk as we do. He went there, but he instantly vanished from one place and appeared right at the deer park. That is, he didn't appear directly in front of them, because the Buddha avoided blatant display of psychic powers. He didn't use overt miracles. He was very discreet. For example, from Bodh Gaya, he would disappear and reappear at the beginning of a distant path. From there, he would slowly walk with his alms bowl. If people witnessed it, they would think the Buddha walked thousands of kilometers, hundreds of kilometers from where he attained enlightenment to the deer park. But no, he used psychic power to travel quickly. He would vanish from one spot and reappear at another instantly. But then he would walk from a distance. At that time, the 5 ascetics Kondinya and his companions saw him. After welcoming him, the Buddha delivered his first discourse, which was like a constitution, a declaration of Buddhism, the discourse on the 4 Noble Truths. And the 4 Noble Truths became the wondrous, eternal, and inexhaustible truth for humanity. In that doctrine of the 4 Noble Truths, the Buddha clearly stated the issues of suffering and happiness that govern humans. And we, living in this world, are always haunted by these 2 words. Suffering and happiness. Whatever we do, we are influenced by them. Let's try to think. Sometimes we forget, but at its very core, the nature of human life is to avoid suffering and seek happiness. For example, we struggle and toil our whole lives for what? To have food and clothes, which means to avoid suffering and attain happiness. Or, for example, we raise our children and educate them properly for what? So that they can be comfortable later, avoid suffering, and be happy. And sometimes later, they will know how to repay their parents' kindness, so we also suffer less and find joy in old age. A doctor who diligently treats patients, what do? They prevent patients from suffering the pain of illness, also avoiding suffering to attain happiness. We see that if we consider it deeply in this life, all of us want to find happiness and avoid suffering. Everyone is like that. Today, when we come to the temple, it's the same. Why are we sitting here? If one understands the Dharma, one hopes that through these teachings, we will have a new life of greater peace, avoid mistakes and suffering. And if one does not yet understand the Dharma, one believes that by coming to the temple, we will receive blessings and protection from the Buddha, overcoming the suffering, impasses, and difficulties of life. And so, that too is avoiding suffering and seeking happiness. Therefore, we see that the meaning of suffering and happiness influences our entire lives. No one can escape it. And how can we avoid suffering and find happiness most stably? That is what we are talking about today, the topic of karma. Thus, we know what cause we sow, what result we receive. We avoid sowing bad causes so as not to suffer bitter results. We strive to sow good causes so that we receive results of peace and happiness. Because the law of karma is absolutely just. No one can circumvent it, hide it, or conceal it to avoid karma. The complexity of karma. Now, we often hear our ancestors say, live kindly, meet good things, live wickedly, meet bad things. That is, those who live well will be happy and those who do not live well will suffer. That is the basic principle. The basic principle of the law of karma is that if we make others happy, then later we will experience joy. If we make others suffer, then later we must endure the karmic result of suffering. That is the basic principle. However, That basic principle isn't always perfectly accurate. Why? Because the law of karma is incredibly complex. Sometimes we want someone to be happy, but they get annoyed. Sometimes we think we're making someone suffer, but unexpectedly they actually like it. So often our actions have the opposite effect of our intentions. And this is where karma gets very tricky. Not easy at all. For example, if you meet someone and slap them across the face, at that moment your intention is to make them suffer, which is why you do it. And they genuinely suffer. In this case, the karmic result is very easy to deduce. You hit them, they hurt, so a karmic result will occur. And if you hit them in front of everyone, you humiliate them. So, at that moment, two causes occur. One, they're in pain, they might break a few teeth or something, which is physical pain. Two, you hit their dignity in front of everyone. So, you sow two causes, humiliating them and causing physical pain. In the future, you will receive the same karmic result. In the future, when you repay the karmic result, the longer it takes, the greater it will be. At that time, it's not that they'll meet you again at some point and slap you back in front of a crowd. No, if the karmic result comes back, you might be hung out in the yard and whipped many times for people to see all day, humiliated and shamed. A single cause sown can lead to 100 or 1,000-fold return, not just one. It's easy when we want someone to suffer and they suffer. It's easy when we want someone to be happy and they are happy. Let's take another example. In our village, there's a child who is both smart and well-behaved. They always excel in school, and in the village, they are polite, respectful to elders, and helpful to the elderly and weak. So, we come up with an idea. One day when we meet at a parents' meeting or in the village when there are many people, we prepare a gift. We buy a bicycle. We invite the child and their family. We say, "I see that your child, though young, has a very good sense of morality. They study diligently and are smart, and their behavior towards elders is proper and respectful. So I want to commend them, and on behalf of the community, I'd like to give this child a bicycle for school." Such an act has two causes. What's one cause? We're giving material aid. And what's the second cause? We're enhancing the child's reputation. We're praising someone's honor, making them feel proud in front of many people. Because there are two causes, in the future, we will receive two types of karmic results simultaneously. What are these two types of karmic results? In another lifetime, perhaps in the next life, we might suddenly become a world-renowned scientist or a professor who teaches brilliantly, known worldwide, and receive a global award, not just a national one. It's strange how karma blossoms. Sow one, get myriad, not sow one, get one. We only praised the child in front of the village and gave them a bicycle, but in the next life we receive a whole international award, and might even collect hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is, one cause is like sowing a grain of rice. You don't get one grain back, but a whole cluster of rice. If you plant a lychee seed, you don't get one lychee fruit, but tens of thousands of lychee fruits over many years. So we see that karma is like that. If we sow one evil deed, the suffering returns to us, sometimes for 10 years without end. If we sow one good deed, sometimes the good comes to us with unimaginable glory for an entire lifetime. The karmic result is so powerful, the unintended consequences of our actions. But the law of karma is more severe than simply sowing one cause and getting one result. Sow one cause and you get 1,000 results, 10,000 results. Often, just one word is enough to enjoy happiness for 10 lifetimes without end, to be rich and powerful for 10 lifetimes without end. Just one word. And sometimes, just one unintentional word can lead to 10 lifetimes as an animal unable to return to human form. The law of karma is so severe, because we don't fully understand it. We don't know how to restrain ourselves, how to control our actions and words. We treat each other badly. We curse whoever we want to curse. We deceive whoever we want to deceive. We despise whoever we want to despise, because we don't know what severe karmic results the law of karma brings. But when we understand that the law of karma is utterly just and that its karmic results are severe, we become afraid and restrain ourselves. And we always remind ourselves that we live only to love, only to sacrifice and serve, and never dare to live for ourselves anymore. Why? Because the cause of selfishness leads to the karmic result of degradation, suffering, and hardship. Therefore, anyone whose heart only seeks joy for themselves, lives for themselves, seeks profit for themselves, we know what awaits them in the future, either a person in distress or a hungry ghost or suffering in hell. But if we understand karma, we restrain ourselves and vow to live only to love people, to love all beings. Every time we speak, we are careful with our mouths. Every word, not wanting to make anyone sad. Every time we interact with someone, we are cautious, afraid that others will suffer. We always want to bring joy to others. Then what awaits such a person in the future? If they return as a human, they will be a glorious and happy person. And if they don't wish to be human, they will be reborn in the heavens as a glorious and peaceful saint. Therefore, in this law of karma, when understood profoundly, we have the key to guide our lives to where we desire. In Buddhism, the most important essence taught by the Buddha is the issue of suffering and happiness. The subtle nature of karma, a case study. However, that basic principle isn't always perfectly accurate. Why? Because the law of karma is incredibly complex. Sometimes we want someone to be happy, but they get annoyed. Sometimes we think we're making someone suffer, but unexpectedly they actually like it. So often our actions have the opposite effect of our intentions. And this is where karma gets very tricky, not easy at all. Let's take an example. We know a teacher of ours. We know it's her birthday. Thinking of her kindness in teaching us during our high school years. And today, although we are working and have a little power and money, we remember our teacher's birthday and bring her a gift, a big cake as big as a tray. What's in that cake? What are the ingredients? Flour first, right? Second, what else? Chicken eggs, and these days, there's bird flu. Third, sugar. Fourth, milk. Fifth, fatty cream. So we bring this delicious cake thinking our teacher will be happy. But unexpectedly, her face sours. She's not happy. Why? Why? Because she's on a diet, afraid of getting fat, afraid of high blood sugar, afraid of dying early. We're bringing her a cake, it's like bringing her poison. So, there are strange karmic situations where we want someone to be happy, but they get annoyed. These karmic situations are very difficult to deduce. Or, there's a robber, a scoundrel, a ruffian. Standing in the middle of the road, he encounters a man and picks a fight. He hits him and accidentally kills him. So, when he kills him, normally this would bring suffering to the family. But unexpectedly, the wife is very happy. Why is the wife happy? Because this husband has caused so much suffering to the family for so many years, tormenting his wife and children beyond endurance. He's drunk all the time, making the whole family live in hell with him, and no one dares to speak up because he's so violent. Unexpectedly, he gets killed on the street by a ruffian. The ruffian kills him and then runs away, thinking he caused trouble. But unexpectedly, the whole family is overjoyed. The wife is happy, the children are happy. They prefer him dead so that the mother and children can raise themselves peacefully than have him alive and suffer so much at home. This means there are times when we think we're making people suffer, but they're happy. Life is like that. So, at that time, karma is very difficult. The basic principle is this. Whatever we do that affects others will come back to us, either in this life or another. The principle is like that. For example, if we give the teacher that big cake, as we said earlier, we think the teacher will be happy, but she's not. So, we will have a karmic result like that. In the future, people will give us gifts that we don't particularly like or that don't suit our taste. And we might have to give them to others and so on. And for example, that ruffian who killed the husband, liberating that family, it's possible that even though he thought he caused trouble, later in his life, in other lifetimes, there will be both bad luck and good luck mixed together. That's because he did something bad. But unexpectedly, he also liberated the mother and children of that family. So his life will be like that in the future. He might win the lottery, but then someone comes and robs him of the money. Or he might fall into a river, thinking he's going to drown. But unexpectedly, he finds a bag of gold. This means that in his life, there will always be good luck and bad luck. And bad luck and good luck because in his previous life, he sowed that cause. He thought he was causing trouble, but unexpectedly, he was bringing good fortune to others. So, karma is very complex. It's not simple. And we can only summarize the principle: whatever effect we cause for others will come back to us later. Karma transcends all beliefs. For example, there are strange religions like this. Within that religion, they believe that if they kill people, commit acts of terrorism, plant bombs, or shoot indiscriminately to glorify their religion, they will go to heaven when they die. There are such bizarre beliefs, and that religion encourages killing people freely. So, anyone who hears about that religion is afraid. We don't want to name any specific religion, but let's just say there are strange, fanatical religions that are not based on karma. The religious leaders who want to kill people spread false beliefs, saying, "You just go kill many people and I guarantee you'll go to heaven when you die." And the followers, being deluded, don't consider karma because that religion doesn't speak of the law of karma, only of faith. So they believe blindly and fanatically. And that person goes and plants a bomb somewhere crowded, killing people to create a sensation, to cause chaos and insecurity in that society. And so they think they will go to heaven. But the karmic result will not be like that. Their belief is one thing, but the karmic result takes its own course. The karmic result is like this. When that person planted the bomb, they killed 20 people and injured 30. That is the first karmic cause. So, they must repay it like this. When they cause the death of 20 people in successive lifetimes, for 20 lifetimes, they will be killed by bombs and bullets. That is, they will be born, grow up to be about 15 or 20 years old, and then be killed by a bomb. And this will happen for 20 consecutive lifetimes to repay the 20 lives. Then, for injuring 30 people, in successive lifetimes they must suffer severe injuries, broken arms, broken legs, cracked heads, scarred faces, blindness, lameness. That is, it must be for 30 times. And there's still a residual karmic effect. For every person who died, there was a grieving family. For every person, there was their family, husband, wife, parents, children, relatives. And those people suffered extreme pain from this death. So that terrorist, for about 100,000 years in the future, will never experience joy in their life. From the moment they are born, they will be an orphan, abandoned. Growing up, they will wander alone on the streets, shunned by people, scolded by everyone. That is, they will only experience suffering, never happiness, because they brought suffering to nearly 50 families, and each family had about 7 or 8 people, parents, husband, wife, children, relatives, at the very least on average. And so, they brought suffering to too many people, so their karmic result must be to suffer for about 100,000 years, never having joy in this life. If they are reborn as a dog, it will only be a dog in a poor household, suffering from mange, sores, and always being killed, hit by a car and dying, for example. The karmic result is so severe, and they will never know what heaven is. So, we see that some religions, because they don't understand karma, incite nonsense. But karma takes its own course. So, in this law of karma, we see that it does not depend on the doctrines of any religion. Whether one is a Christian, a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Protestant, a Confucian, or whatever religion, karma takes its own separate, very objective and very just path. Even if a person claims their religion is the most supreme, they still cannot escape the just law of karma. The law of karma ultimately governs everything. That is, if you cause suffering to others because of your religion, the law of karma will still bring suffering to you. It's not that you can say, because I'm religious, I'm powerful, I'm not afraid of suffering. That's not how it works. So no one can escape. Unseen Merit, the forest ranger. Or take a forest ranger who dedicates their life to protecting the forest, causing difficulties for illegal loggers. When illegal loggers secretly cut down trees in the forest, the ranger intercepts them and prevents them from destroying the forest. This person protects the forest. Although they make the illegal loggers unhappy and are resented by them, sometimes even harmed by them, we don't often see the karmic reward of protecting the forest. We rarely hear people praise forest protectors. We only praise those who bring immediate benefits to humans. For example, a successful business that makes huge profits is praised by the government. A doctor who saves many patients is praised by the government. A teacher who educates good and smart students is praised by the government. But a forest ranger who only protects trees, inanimate objects, we don't see them praised. So, the karmic result isn't obvious. But the law of karma is just. How is it just? The forest is the environment that protects the life of this planet. If there were no forests, we would all die immediately. This earth would lose life immediately. All humans would die immediately if there were no forests. As long as there are forests, life continues. Therefore, a forest ranger who protects the forest is protecting the life of humanity. That person protects favorable weather and abundant water sources. And that person receives great merit, People don't see it to praise them because they see them protecting inanimate trees. So it's not obvious. But unexpectedly, that person will always have a comfortable and peaceful life for many lifetimes. They will be reborn wherever they are happy, loved by everyone. Whatever they wish for will succeed. They will live in a place with abundant water, favorable weather, and no accidents. A forest ranger receives such merit not just in this life, but in many other lifetimes. So there are such just karmic results. Often we humans don't fully see the wonders, but the law of karma does not miss a single detail. The justice of karma is more supreme than human wisdom. We humans, with our shallow minds, still don't fully see everyone's good and bad deeds. But the law of karma never misses a small detail. The subtle impact of negligence. For example, we live in a village. We want to lay a water pipe from our house across the road. We ask permission, dig a trench, lay the pipe, and then fill it back up. But unfortunately, we don't fill it as evenly as it was originally. When we didn't dig it, the road was flat, and cars wouldn't jolt, people wouldn't trip. But when we finished digging and laying the pipe, we filled it back up, but it's a little sunken, not even. So, cars passing by jolt, pedestrians trip. Often, no one pays attention. We don't know the consequences, and people don't even notice to criticize. But unexpectedly, the karmic result is terrifying. Let's start counting. For example, we put a machine to count how many cars pass by and jolt in a day. And remember, they jolt twice because a two-wheeled vehicle has a front wheel and a back wheel. So, one car passes by and jolts twice, right? In one day, in our village road, roughly 200 cars means how many jolts? 400 jolts. How many in a year? Multiply by 365 days. And we don't know if we filled the road evenly in a year. If we leave the road like that for 5 years, we keep multiplying. Just for cars, not even counting people. It's tens of thousands of jolts. And what's the karmic result? In the future, our leg will have some defect. One leg will be shorter than the other, will suffer some accident, and will walk with a limp. That is, one leg steps, the other falls, it's a limp, a jolt, just like a car jolting. And we have to jolt 50,000 times for our leg to heal. Or we die, and we don't have to limp anymore. We walk with a hobble. In the South, they call it ditsanek. I don't know what you call it in the North. Limping, right? Yes, limping. Ditsanak means walking with one leg higher, leaning from side to side. And we never knew that our limp was just because we laid a water pipe across the road and didn't fill the hole evenly. Just a tiny bit, we didn't even notice it. But later, we have to limp 50,000 times to repay it all. Only then, when the road is level again, will our karmic debt be paid. We have to limp 50,000 times. Whether in this life or the next. And we see that with our human minds, we don't see all good and bad deeds, but the law of karma does not forgive. It does not forgive the unseen power of a simple light. Or, for example, consider this. Our road section is quiet and a bit dark. At night, it's dark. So we think it's too dark and we hang a light bulb, a fluorescent light. We hang it right in our yard corner, right on the fence wall. It illuminates our yard and also illuminates the road outside. Then, our family members or our spouse might say, "Why are you wasting electricity?" We say, "Oh, never mind, let it illuminate the road so people can pass by without tripping or danger." So, every evening, we turn on the light to illuminate our yard and that corner of the road. This goes on for many years until the day the government installs streetlights. Only then do we turn off our light bulb. But for 3 years before the government installed streetlights, we kept our light bulb on every night unless there was a power outage. And we accepted the extra electricity cost to bring a little light to that road. And often, no one pays much attention. The neighborhood leader doesn't notice to praise us. Our family just complains about the electricity cost. Passers-by are illuminated but don't pay attention. But the law of karma pays attention. The law of karma does not miss anything. It starts counting. It counts that on that night, the number of people passing by is fewer at night than during the day, maybe about 50 people, right? And multiply by 365 days a year. And for 3 years before the government installed streetlights, the number of people who passed by and benefited from that light felt a little more at ease, right? Walking at night and seeing light makes one feel a little more at ease, less afraid of ghosts, less afraid of robbers. Are there any here afraid of ghosts? You're a little less afraid of ghosts? A little less afraid of robbers. That little bit of peace of mind for tens of thousands of people, tens of thousands of times they feel at ease, becomes an extremely great merit. That's not all. There's also the safety aspect. When they reach that corner of the road, it's bright, they can see clearly, they avoid dangers and obstacles. So, they avoid danger, receiving 2 merits. The third merit is that their eyes can see clearly there. So, illuminating the light outside the yard, illuminating the road, has 3 causes, 3 merits. First, it makes people feel a little more at ease. Second, it makes people a little safer. Third, they can see a little more clearly. These 3 things become the karmic reward in the next life like this. In the next life, wherever we go, we will always be safe. There will never be any danger. That is, if everyone else passing through that area encounters robbers or accidents, but if we pass, the robbers will be somewhere else, drinking or playing, and we will never encounter any obstacles. Our life will always be safe, as if someone is always supporting and protecting us. In that place where others sleep and see ghosts, we never see ghosts because we are always safe. That is, if there's a dangerous stretch of river where boats are easily swept away and capsized, our boat will pass safely without ever capsizing or sinking. That stretch of road is dangerous, everyone who passes easily falls or has an accident. But we pass smoothly without ever encountering anything. We receive the merit of safety. Second, we receive the merit of peace of mind. Naturally, we have no fear. Wherever we live in war, in adversity, our minds are always firm and peaceful, and we are always happy. Our minds are always joyful, joyful, joyful. The joy lasts in our hearts without sorrow or suffering. And the third merit is extremely bright eyes. We see wherever we look. That's because the merit of illuminating the light made others see clearly. And that merit lasts not just for 1 lifetime. We lit the light outside for 3 years, but we enjoy this merit for 30 lifetimes. 30 lifetimes is roughly close to 200 years until it ends. That is, just lighting the light outside for 3 years, spending who knows how much on electricity. But for 30 consecutive lifetimes, dying and being reborn, dying and being reborn, we always have brilliant eyes that can see in the dark, are always safe from accidents, and our minds are always peaceful and joyful. We see that there are things humans don't see, but the law of karma sees clearly without missing a single detail. Factors increasing karmic results. Now, we will talk about the level of increase and decrease of karmic results. Generally, karmic results increase many times compared to the initial cause. Let's look at different types of plants. For example, if we plant a banana tree, how many fruits does it yield? 1 bunch, right? Then if we plant more, the subsequent plants will yield about 15 or 20 plants, 20 bunches. A banana clump like that is not good. It needs to be dug up and planted elsewhere or replanted roughly like that. So, the fruit is relatively not much. If we sow 1 grain of rice and the rice is good, we get about 1 bowl, 1 cup. No? I don't know how much. Let's say 1,000, right? 1 grain of rice yields 1,000 grains. Is that right? Okay, that's it, then we have to plant again. But for example, if we plant a longan tree or a lychee tree, we eat from it for decades. 1 seed, when planted, yields tens of thousands of fruits over many years. We see that some causes yield 10-fold, some 100-fold, some 10,000-fold. They are different like that. And in karmic retribution, both good and evil, it's the same. We give someone joy. Sometimes we receive 10-fold joy in return. Sometimes we give someone joy and it returns 1,000-fold or 1,000,000-fold. So, why does one cause yield so many results? We will analyze together what factors influence one cause to produce so many results. These are factors that increase merit. Because there are people who give charity only once. For example, once we meet someone on the street, an acquaintance. We ask, "Where are you going?" They say, "Going to the doctor." "Going to buy medicine, but I'm short 20,000 dong." The doctor's prescription is 120,000 dong, but they only have 100,000 dong. So we pull out our wallet and say, "Here, take this, I'll add 20,000 dong to make it enough." We forget about that 20,000 dong. We don't remember it. But one day, 10 years later, we suddenly have good luck, we receive 2 million dong. We don't know why. We don't realize that it's precisely that 20,000 dong we helped someone buy medicine with that turned into 2 million dong. We didn't expect the karmic result to be like that. Increasing many times over, not just 20,000 dong returning as 20,000 dong. That's not how it works. 1. The power of the heart. Here's why it increases like that. The first factor that increases karmic results is the heart, the very heart which increases karmic results many times over. Let's look at two people. For example, there are two people who contribute. That day, we heard that someone in the neighboring village had their house burned down. So, our group organized a fundraiser to help that family, also out of neighborly kindness. Our group leader went from house to house. They came to two families and each family contributed 100,000 dong. Both contributed the same amount, 100,000 dong. We might think that if they contribute the same amount, their karmic results will be the same. For example, each person gets 10 million dong later. In some future life or even 10 years later, each person suddenly experiences a good fortune, a successful business venture, and earns 10 million dong because of that 100,000 dong they contributed. We might think it's equal. No, it's not equal. Because both contributed 100,000 dong, but their hearts were different. One person contributed 100,000 dong with a casual, indifferent attitude. Oh, just give it to him and get it over with. They didn't really care about the burnt house, what the family's situation was, how they lived for days until they rebuilt their house. They didn't pay attention. They just handed it over with a smile. Here, I'm contributing 100,000 dong, okay? Then, goodbye and left. The second family also contributed 100,000 dong. But suddenly their heart was filled with compassion. They asked the group leader, how is that family? How many children do they have? Where are they staying during this time until their house is rebuilt? Who is sheltering them? They felt sorrow. Okay, next time you go, please let me know, I'll visit them. It was still only 100,000 dong, but with more love and care. So, the person who contributed 100,000 dong with a superficial, indifferent heart, their merit later returns to them as perhaps 5 million dong. But the person who also gave 100,000 dong, but with sincere care and compassion, their 100,000 dong might turn into 100 million dong. Their merit increases rapidly. This means that the heart multiplies the karmic result manifold. And we understand this in life. We must help each other, that's true, but please also have a heart. That is, truly love and help each other, don't help superficially. If you help superficially, the bond between people becomes shallow and the karmic result is also not great. For example, we say this. In the village, one day, our neighbor was plowing and ran out of fuel, a few liters. He came to borrow from us. We also did a good deed by lending him. It's just a loan, not a gift. Oh, we're neighbors. Here, let me lend you 10 liters of fuel to plow in the field. But when we lent it, our heart was earnest. Okay, go ahead. I'll have my child bring it over. Where are you plowing today? We ask. And our heart is very happy to be able to help our neighbor. In the future, our merit will increase greatly. Our life will encounter much good luck. But if someone comes to borrow from us and we just say, oh, the fuel, just come and get it yourself, and we are indifferent and we also hope he pays it back soon to get it over with. Afraid he'll run off with it. We also help him, lending 10 liters of fuel, but with an overly indifferent heart. Then later, our life will encounter good luck, but only small, insignificant good luck. But if we add a little heart, the good luck that comes to us will be abundant. So, we see that one factor that makes karmic results increase many times is the heart we have for each other. So, remember that in this life, let's preserve our hearts for each other. Listening to the Dharma and creating noise will result in darkness of mind and lack of wisdom in the future. This is the first important factor. So, from today, let's remember that when we go to the temple, we prostrate to the ancestors. Later, we will go in and offer incense to the Buddha. And we will pray for one thing. What will we pray for? Who can say precisely? Today, we will not pray for wealth or health anymore. Instead, we will pray for this, please, Buddha. Grant me a kind and loving heart towards all beings. That's all we will pray for today. Can we do that? Yes, we can. Today, let's pray for that. And from now on, when we live with others, sometimes we cannot help them with a single penny, but please always have a loving heart. And if we can help, that's even better. Having both a heart and a little material assistance is extremely good. But if we don't have money, let's still have a heart and the karmic result will be very beautiful. Our lives will always be happy because of that. 2. The influence of time. The second factor that increases karmic results is time. The longer it takes for the karmic result to arrive, the greater the karmic result. It's like planting trees. For example, if we plant a bean plant, how many beans do we get? A handful, right? If it's a soybean in the south, they call it Dao Nan. How many beans do we get back? Not even 1,000, right? Maybe 100? One soybean seed will harvest 100 soybean seeds. Why so few? Because the time is short, only 3 months. But if we plant a type of seed that takes 10 years, like a tamarind tree, if we sow a tamarind seed, it takes 10 years to bear fruit. How many tamarind fruits do we get back? Millions, right? Because the tamarind tree lives for so many years. Every season, it yields millions of fruits, and for how many years? So, we see that the longer the karmic result takes, the greater it is. Good and bad karma are also like that. For example, we help someone. We help someone once. For example, that person was unjustly accused and imprisoned. They didn't steal, but for some reason, they were falsely accused. Someone saw a similar face. So, the police officer asked, "Last night, your house was robbed. Did you see the thief?" He said, "Yes, I saw him, but I couldn't catch him." What was he like? He described him. He looked like this neighbor. This neighbor also steals, he's thin. Unexpectedly, the neighbor also steals and has a buzz cut. Unexpectedly, the neighbor also has a Mao shirt yesterday. After a while, the description matched the neighbor perfectly. So, the police came and questioned him immediately. "Where were you last night?" "I was sleeping at home, what else?" "You were sleeping at home, but why was your neighbor's house robbed?" "I don't know, it's none of my business." "No, you tell the truth." "That is..." They pressed him, interrogated him, and he was indicted. So, this person was unjustly accused. We know the story. We know this person wouldn't be greedy for even a small coin. Why? Because once, when we went to our friend's house, we dropped 100,000 dong from our pocket. And this friend returned the 100,000 dong to us. We know this person is not greedy. So, we went to the commune police and said, "I guarantee it. I swear. If you arrest that person, just arrest me instead. I know for sure this person would never do that. I believe it." We spoke so strongly. The police officer hesitated. We proved everything. I've lived with this person for so many years, they're not greedy for even a small coin. And we spoke so strongly. We even dared to say, "If this person really stole, I'll cut off my head and offer it to you as payment." We spoke so strongly that the police officer had to let go and investigate other leads. Otherwise, they would have kept pressing that man until he was arrested. But thanks to our words, this person escaped imprisonment. We did that once and then forgot about it. We never thought about it again. And the karmic result didn't come. We were never unjustly accused of anything. No karmic result came to us. But 20 lifetimes later, we are born and die. Born and die for 20 lifetimes. Then we suddenly encounter a great misfortune. We are slandered and slandered. But at that time, it's not just one person defending us. At that time, the entire country defends us. At that time, for example, we run for election to be a member of the National Assembly. 20 lifetimes later, we have the merit to run for election to the National Assembly. Then a few people slander us to bring us down. At that time, it's not just one person who stands up to defend us. It's not the neighbor we defended back then who stands up to defend us. No, the entire country stands up to defend us. That is, the karmic result becomes manifold. When the karmic result is delayed, it increases many times. If we enjoy it quickly, it's not good. So, the time factor is also very significant. Or, for example, if we owe someone something. For example, an older brother in a family works hard to support his younger siblings because their parents died early. The older brother has to toil, drop out of school, drive a rented car, farm to support his siblings, for example. He works hard to educate his siblings. Then, when his siblings are successful, he gets sick and dies early. His siblings don't get to repay him. When his siblings are successful and wealthy, the older brother has already died. And we see that karmic results are not enjoyed immediately. Karmic results are not enjoyed immediately. And if they are not enjoyed immediately, they are very great. Karma pushes and pushes until 10 lifetimes later, the siblings meet again. It's not that we'll meet those people immediately in the next life, no. Karma is different. In this case, this person dies and is reborn, dies and is reborn 10 times. Then, the siblings meet this older brother. And when they meet again, what happens? They suddenly love him immensely, right? They suddenly love this older brother, care for him. Nurture him without missing a single detail. It's as if they would spoon-feed him rice for an entire lifetime. They love him deeply because the karmic result took too long to return. But if he had raised them and they had raised him back, the karmic result would have been repaid quickly. But 10 lifetimes later, they meet again and they love him from childhood, caring for him. From his shoes to his sleep, to his meals, providing for his every need, even his writing implements for school with a car to pick him up and drop him off. That is the karmic result that comes after a long time. That is the second factor that makes karmic results great. 3. The power of effective help. The third factor that makes karmic results great is the effectiveness of our help. If we help someone and the effect is great, our merit is great. If the effect is small, our merit is small. For example, there are two people who need our help. One person is hungry, so we give them 1 million dong to buy rice, sugar, milk, and food. That's it. Another person wants to learn a trade but doesn't have money for tuition. They're short 1 million dong. We give them 1 million dong to learn a trade. In both cases, we are giving charity, helping with 1 million dong. But the two merits are different. The two karmic results are different. Why? Because the 1 million dong we gave to one person. How long can they live on 1 million dong in Ninh where living is expensive? 2 months, right? So we helped that person for 1 million dong and they lived for 2 months. Our merit later will be that we will live comfortably for 20 years. Remember that. We help someone for 2 months, and later we live comfortably for 20 years. Karma is like that. But it's not the same as the person we helped with 1 million dong for vocational training. Once they have a trade, how many months can they live? An entire lifetime, right? So, it's still 1 million dong, but one created an effect of 2 months benefit, while the other 1 million dong created an effect for a lifetime. So our merit is unimaginable. We will be reborn in comfort for many lifetimes. Wherever we are born, we will be well-fed, have a proper trade, a proper job, and always be respected. And for about 2 or 3 dozen lifetimes, we see that it's the same amount of money, the same amount given to help others, but the way of helping that creates a great effect yields enormous merit, right? And among the ways of helping people, there's one way that helps people not just for one lifetime, but for infinite lifetimes. Dear Buddhists, I'm not asking the monks and nuns, they already know. I'm asking you, dear Buddhists, what can we help people with that will benefit them for infinite lifetimes to come? Help them believe in the Buddha Dharma, in the law of karma and its retribution. When people believe in the law of karma and its retribution, they dare not do evil. They only strive to do good deeds. Then how long will that person enjoy merit? Infinite lifetimes. If they receive infinite lifetimes of merit, how long will we receive merit? Our merit cannot be counted. Therefore, the merit of bringing the Buddha Dharma to others, of helping others understand the law of karma and its retribution, that merit allows us to become saints. We can attain enlightenment. The merit is inexhaustible. Once someone asked the Buddha, Lord, are there any people outside of Buddhism who are reborn in the heavens to enjoy happiness? The Buddha replied, O Brahmana, throughout 91 great eons, I have not seen a single person outside of Buddhism who was reborn in the heavens except for one person, because that person often taught about the law of karma and its retribution. So, we see that the Buddha also affirmed the extremely great merit of helping others understand the law of karma and its retribution. And now we are the same. We listen to the Buddha's teachings. We return to our families. We gather our spouses and children at every meal under the warm, loving light. While eating, we speak about karma. You must understand that whatever cause you sow, you will reap that result. If you respect elders, you will be respected when you grow up. That is, you will succeed when you grow up. But if, when you are young, you are disrespectful and rude to elders, you will not succeed in anything when you grow up. Whatever you do will fail, and people will despise you in return. We tell them, if you see someone suffering and you ignore them, then later in your life, you will suffer hardship, and no one will care for you. You must know how to help and love people. This means that during meals, we talk about karma, we teach our children morality, which saves them for infinite lifetimes to come. And not only our children and spouse, we also go to our neighbors and say, today is the memorial ceremony at Dong Dac Temple. I haven't seen you go to the temple before. Today, I'm going to the temple, and I want to invite you to come with me for a little while. That person might hesitate, might want to refuse. "Oh, I'm tied up. I'm tied up with work in the field or something." We say, "I'm tied up too, and I'm more tied up than you, but there are things that are more valuable than you going to the field and earning 100 dong today, because it's only once a year. Please come with me. I really care about you. Let's go there to listen to the venerable teachers teach the Dharma. Let's go there to prostrate to the Buddha. And you will see that when you come back, you will realize that I was right. The day you go to the temple, prostrate to the Buddha, and listen to the Dharma, it is 1,000 times more beneficial than you going to the field today and earning 100 dong. This means we help someone understand the Buddha Dharma. When they come to the temple once, they return with faith in the triple gem. They are afraid to do evil. They only like to do good. We save them for many lifetimes to come. And so our merit is unimaginable. It's an endless enjoyment of merit. Therefore, we have been talking about this. If we bring small benefits to others, our merit is small. If we bring great benefits to others, our merit is great. And among great benefits, none is greater than helping others understand the Buddha Dharma and believe in karma. That is why we, as disciples of the Buddha, no matter where we are, in what village or country, we must always be diligent in reaching out to our neighbors who do not yet know the Buddha Dharma, who do not yet know karma. We talk to them about Buddhist principles. A simple sentence or two, sowing in their hearts the belief in karma. That also saves their lives for infinite lifetimes. Or we have good lectures or good books. We bring them and invite them to read. If they read it once and sow the belief in karma in their lives, they are saved for infinite lifetimes, and our merit is unimaginable. That is, even in this life, we are always protected by the Buddha. When we encounter impasses, we pray to the Buddha, and the Buddha immediately saves us. The Buddha immediately helps us. But a person who lives only for themselves, never helping anyone, never inviting anyone to the temple to learn the Buddha Dharma, that person, when they encounter suffering and impasses, their prayers to the Buddha might not be effective because they are not worthy. But a person who always lives loving others, bringing the Buddha Dharma to others, helping others believe in karma. When they encounter suffering and impasses, they can stand in the middle of the sky without even needing to go to the temple, just recite the Buddha's name once. And the Buddha will immediately save them. Believe that. Believe it because the Buddha will help his obedient children. We firmly believe that. 4. The value of effort. Another factor that increases karmic results is effort. What kind of effort? For example, we hear that some young people in the neighboring village volunteer to fix the road connecting the two villages. At that time, the government didn't have funding, so the people decided to patch it up themselves to make it easier to travel. Unexpectedly, the neighboring village initiated it first, before our village had a chance. The neighboring village didn't invite our village, they did it themselves, saying they were afraid our village was busy. So they fixed the road themselves and they mobilized. We hear about it. And our friend also hears about it. So we want to contribute, but we're too sick to carry a hoe or a shovel and work with them. So we contribute in this way. We go to the neighboring village and say, "I'll contribute a bag of rice, okay? For you guys to eat while you're fixing this road." Another person says, "Please send someone to my house to pick up a bag of rice for the workers to eat." So we give them a bag of rice and we don't expend any effort, right? We sit at home and wait for them to come pick up the rice. That's also giving a bag of rice, but without any effort involved. But another person also contributes a bag of rice for the young people fixing the road. But they laboriously carry the 100-kilogram bag of rice, pushing a cart all the way to the neighboring village, to the kitchen, asking the women to cook rice for the workers. So, it's the same charitable act, the same value, but the effort involved is different. So, the karmic results are different. The karmic results are like this. In the next life, if we want to earn money, we have to leave our home. We have to go somewhere far away to work to earn money. But the person who delivered the rice directly to help them in the next life, they will sit at home. And wealth will come to them automatically. Suddenly, someone comes and says, "Sir, I want you to be my agent for selling fertilizer. I'll give you fertilizer and I won't take any money. You sell it, and then you pay me back." So we just sit at home and suddenly someone brings fertilizer and someone else comes to buy it. We just sit at home and enjoy the profits. Isn't that great? We see the difference in merit. If we bring what we help with directly to the person, later we will stay at home and wealth will naturally come to us. But if we help someone only when they come to us, then later we will have to struggle to make a living. And so we see that karmic results are different. So far, we've talked about factors that increase karmic results, factors decreasing karmic results. Now let's talk about factors that reduce karmic results. Doing good deeds does not always mean receiving the full benefit as we just described. There are factors that destroy or diminish it. For example, we sow a bean seed, but instead of letting it get dew and sunlight, we keep it covered, so the plant doesn't grow much. Sometimes it only yields 1 bean or 5 beans, and then it dies. So, there are factors that prevent karmic results from growing much that reduce them. Here we'll talk about these factors. 1. Boasting about our good deeds. What is the first factor? Boasting. When we do good deeds, when we help others, if we keep talking about it, our merit gradually diminishes. Sometimes it's completely gone, as if we never gave anything. For example, our next-door neighbor. One day, the husband was away and the wife went into labor. So, our whole family, including our wife and children, took her to the hospital to deliver the baby. After she delivered, we took care of everything at the hospital, then returned home. Then we had our wife go back and forth to take care of her. When the husband came back, he learned about it and came to thank us. The baby grew up gradually, and we kept telling the story of how we helped deliver the baby. Even when the baby grew up and had grandchildren, we were still telling the story. We would boast to everyone in the village, if it wasn't for me helping deliver him that day, he wouldn't be here, he wouldn't be working. He wouldn't have children or grandchildren. If it wasn't for me, he would have died. Right? That is, we keep boasting to everyone in the village. The older that person gets, the more embarrassed they become. At first, it's a favor, right? Clearly, it's a favor, like we're a second parent. But if we keep boasting, they grow up and can't stand it anymore. When they grow up and have children and grandchildren, and we are already old with gray hair and beard, but when they see us, they hide. If they see us, we remind them, oh my goodness, I helped deliver you that day. They disappear. The favor turns into hatred. So, we see that doing good deeds and boasting ruins all merit. It's the same now. For example, today, on the Memorial Day of Dong Dac Temple, we bring a bag of vegetables and fruits and a bag of rice to offer to the temple. That's good merit because people from all directions come to eat. So we are helping the temple host them. That's very good. But then we go home and start telling the story for a whole year, from this Memorial Day to the next. We meet everyone and say, last year, on the Memorial Day, I offered a bag of vegetables and fruits and a bag of rice to the temple for everyone to eat, okay? 2 or 3 days later, we meet someone else. Did you go to Dong Dac Temple? Yes? Oh, last year, on the temple's Memorial Day, I also offered a bag of rice and a bag of vegetables. We keep talking about it for a whole year. Then, the next year, we offer again. But within that year, we've talked about it so much that all our merit is gone. The karmic result doesn't occur anymore. Then, about 10 years later, we face hardship. Suddenly, we run out of rice to eat. We sit there, chin in hand, thinking, how strange. Every year, I bring a bag of rice to offer to the temple, giving charity to people from all directions. Why am I running out of rice now? We don't realize that because we boasted so much about what we offered, boasting until all our merit was gone, as if we never gave a single grain of rice. So, there's no merit at all. Therefore, when we do good deeds, remember to keep our mouths shut. Don't say anything. The more we keep it to ourselves, the better, so that our merit is very stable, without any cracks or damage. Otherwise, if we talk about it too much, it's all gone. 2. Regret after giving. Another factor that reduces our merit is regret after giving. Is there anyone here who gives and then regrets it? Yes, there is. Giving and then regretting it reduces our merit. In Buddhist scriptures, there's a very good story. There was an extremely wealthy man, but he lived a miserable life, even worse than the poor. He ate from a broken bowl, and when rice was freshly cooked, he was too stingy to eat it. Waiting for it to get a little spoiled, then he would quickly eat it, afraid of wasting it. He would buy meat and fish, cook it, see that it was good, but feel too wasteful to eat it. So he would leave it until it spoiled, then quickly take it out and eat it. He would buy good clothes, but be afraid to wear them because they might get old. So he wouldn't wear them until they were bitten by mice. Then he would quickly patch them up and wear them. That is, this person was rich but lived like a poor person. When he died, he had no children, so his property was confiscated by the king and put into the royal treasury. After the king confiscated all his property, he went to ask the Buddha. He asked, "Lord, what kind of karma is it that this person was so rich, but lived even worse than the poor?" The Buddha said, "In many previous lifetimes this happened. This man, at that time, a saint, passed by his house every day, going on alms round, carrying an alms bowl. In those days, practitioners often went on alms round, not like today where Buddhists know and bring offerings. They would go into the village with their alms bowls, and at mealtime whoever offered anything, they would eat it. This man was sitting in his house and saw a monk passing by. He didn't know that the monk was a saint who had attained enlightenment, so offering to that person brought immense merit. So he told his servant, 'Go, bring this good milk and offer it.' The servant brought a bowl of milk and offered it to the saint. After offering it, he sat in his house and regretted it in his heart. He said, 'What a waste of good milk, giving it to that monk.' The next day he met the monk again and offered again. He said, 'Today I have this rice cake, a delicious ninbin rice cake. Go, offer it.' When the rice cake was offered, and the saint carried it away, he sat at home and said, 'What a waste of such a delicious rice cake. I haven't even eaten it yet and I've given it away.' That is, he gave but regretted. He gave but regretted. So, in the lifetime when the Buddha was present, he was also present, and he was extremely rich. When his house was discovered after he died, when they opened the treasury door, gold coins spilled out from inside, overflowing. He lived like a poor person. The reason was that he often offered to that saint, offering consistently every day. But after offering, he regretted it. Precisely because of that regret, he didn't dare to enjoy it. So, if anyone in our house has a lot of gold but lives too frugally, beware. It might be because in a previous life we gave charity but regretted it. 3. Arrogance and contempt. Another reason that diminishes our merit is arrogance and self-importance when doing good deeds. For example, our neighbor is going through a difficult time, they lost their job. For some reason, their company laid off workers. So, they are in hardship and we have plenty. So, every week, we bring 50 liters of rice to give them. We support them for several years until they find a job, then we stop giving. So, every week, we give 50 liters of rice. Enough to feed the whole family for several years. Is that great merit? Yes, it is. It's not small. Helping someone so persistently is very kind-hearted. Not simple. But when we help them like that, in our hearts we are arrogant. We look down on them, treat them like our servants or children. Every time we need something, we call out, "Hey, two, come here. My toilet is acting up. Go clear it for me." That is, even though we help them, in our hearts we look down on them. So later our merit is diminished. Instead of being wealthy, we are only moderately well off. Because we gave them money but treated them as inferior. So our merit is damaged. Therefore, when we understand the Dharma, when we help someone, we help with both love and respect, so that the person we help still has their dignity and honor. It's not good to give someone 100,000 dong and make them feel humiliated. So, sometimes when we meet a child, a neighbor's child, and we have some cakes, we love children. We say, "Come here, child. Let grandpa give you some." But we don't just throw or toss it at them like we're throwing food to a dog. We call them over, stroke their head, then hand them the cake and open the wrapper for them to eat. That is, we give charity to a child, but with all our love and respect. In that way, one merit increases 100-fold. It's the respect we have for the person we help that multiplies the merit 100-fold. But if we say, "Hey, come here, here's a cake," and toss it at them, not caring if they can catch it or not, then we give them a cake and later we only get 2 or 3 cakes back. That is, the merit is small, not much. That's why when we make offerings to the temple, we gain merit. Because is there anyone who offers to the temple and dares to disrespect the monks and nuns? No, right? Almost all of us, when we bring food or envelopes of money to offer to the temple, we have respect. It is precisely that respect that makes 1 dong offered to the temple become 1,000,000 dong. That's why. Because there's respect embedded in it. But why do we give charity to others and not gain much merit? Because we often look down on them. When we give to someone, we usually look down on them. Except for powerful people whom we give gifts to out of respect. That's different. But for poor people, we often look down on them when we give, and that's why we have little merit. But now that we understand the law of karma, we can still gain merit as usual. For example, there's a poor person living near us, a few houses away. Today, we cook a delicious dish. Suddenly, we cook some delicious vermicelli soup. We tell our child to carry the tsamen in the south or long in the north, which is a food carrier. We tell our child to put the vermicelli soup in it and take it to them. And we instruct our child clearly, when you go, fold your hands, bow your head, and say, today, my parents cooked delicious vermicelli soup. I don't know what kind of vermicelli soup you have in the north, bun mak. My parents cooked delicious vermicelli soup and wanted to offer it to you to enjoy. Tell them to put the carrier down, greet everyone politely, bow their head, and only then can they come back. So we teach our child like that. Even though our house is brick and their house is straw, our child carries the food carrier to offer a gift at noon, but with all its politeness. It's precisely because we respect them that we make our child respect them. In the future, the merit will be enormous. Our merit will be great, and our child's merit will also be great. Because when we give to someone with all our heart and respect, the merit is very great. That's almost like kung chua, offering to the temple. Those are the factors that increase or decrease merit. We have discussed that, how merit manifests in life. And when we have merit, what does merit create for us in the future? First, merit creates opportunities and good fortune. People who often encounter good luck do so because they have merit, not out of nothing. For example, we're sitting at home, not knowing what to do for a living. Suddenly, an acquaintance from afar comes to us. They see us and say, "Oh, why are you not working these days? Come work with me. I'll help you. I'll guide you. I'll invest capital for you to open this business. I'll help you with experience and skilled workers. When you're stable, I'll withdraw. I have my own work." So suddenly someone helps us like that. We must understand it's due to merit, not because we are good at talking or anything. Or we just happen to go out for fun. We're completely out of work. We just happen to go to the temple for fun. Suddenly, by chance, we find a job. That accidental, sudden, random occurrence is controlled and influenced by merit, and so on. Many good things happen in our lives because of merit. Good fortune does not come by chance. We must remember that. Merit creates wisdom. In this world, some people are wise, some are foolish. When we encounter a task, we are good at organizing and planning, so we succeed. We are skillful and meticulous, so we succeed. Therefore, a meticulous person is also a person with merit. But a careless person who doesn't plan, doesn't calculate, isn't thorough, is a person with little merit, okay? Because they are not wise. Merit produces wisdom, and wisdom produces meticulousness. Meticulous, thorough, far-sighted, discerning, accurate in judgment, that is a person with merit. Remember that. Merit creates wisdom. A dull-witted person is a person with no merit. Remember that. Intelligence, even academic excellence, is due to merit. Merit also creates perseverance. Merit also creates perseverance. That is, a person who is steadfast and determined, who doesn't give up when encountering difficulties, who isn't discouraged when people oppose or criticize them, who is always diligent, always striving, always moving forward. You must know that person has merit. But a person who gives up immediately after being criticized a few times, that person has little merit. For example, if we open a farm and plant a special kind of tree, then someone comes and says, "You're too greedy. You have enough to eat already, why bother investing more?" We hear that one comment and get angry. So we don't bother doing it. That is, if someone says something trivial and we get angry, it means we have little merit. But a person who, for example, is slandered, faces obstacles, wants to open a farm, encounters many difficulties but still perseveres, overcomes them and succeeds, you must know that person has merit. Therefore, merit also creates perseverance. But a person who is not patient, who lacks perseverance, means they have no merit. Understanding seemingly contradictory karma. Now, let's ask ourselves a few questions. Why do we see some kind people who suffer while some cruel people are rich and prosperous? Does that happen? Yes, it does, right? So let's answer it this way. Kindness has many types of kindness. Don't assume everyone who is kind is good. Some people are kind but passive and indifferent. They don't harm anyone, but they never help anyone either. Such a person is rightly poor. Kind. For example, someone curses them to their face, and they don't even bother to respond. They don't get angry. That person is truly kind. But they see their neighbor lying writhing on the ground, about to die, and they just stand there watching, not helping. That person is truly kind in that way. then that person is rightly miserable. So, kindness must be accompanied by goodness. One must help others. So, why is that person kind but suffering? Because of that kind of kindness. Kind but seeing others suffer and not helping, being too indifferent and passive. Then kind and suffering is right. So, one case is a kind person who is passive. That person is truly kind and should be poor. But if a kind person sees someone in distress and ignores them, then the karmic result is even more terrifying. For example, let's say we cross a river. This person is very kind. They smile at everything anyone says and never get angry. Suddenly, a child falls into the river and screams for help. They stand there watching, looking around, but don't see anyone helping. And we also do nothing. We just stand there, not shouting help. The child eventually drowns. Then what? That person is kind, but in the next life, they will have eyes but be blind, a mouth but be mute, unable to speak because they saw and did nothing to help. They had a mouth but didn't shout for others to come help. They encountered someone in danger and distress but didn't help, didn't do anything. That kind of kindness will lead to extreme misery in the next life. Even though they are kind, they will suffer immensely. So, don't think that kindness is always good. That kind of kindness, well, don't be kind at all. Then there's a person who is kind. For example, in a previous life, that person practiced the Dharma. But in an even earlier life, they created bad karma. For example, there was a man who, in the early part of his life, when he was healthy, in his 20s or 30s, joined a gang of robbers who specialized in breaking into houses, holding knives to people's throats, and taking their belongings. He created immense bad karma. Until he was 35, he awakened, understood the Dharma, repented, and threw away his sword. He entered a temple to practice. He tormented himself, doing the heaviest work, chopping wood, cooking, carrying buckets of dirt to fill holes in the road. That is, he endured hardship and self-torment. In the next life, that person returns as a kind person, right? Because thanks to the period from age 35 to 60 when he practiced in the temple, he returns with that seed, becoming a kind person. But when he meets others, what happens? People bully him, beat him, hit him to repay the karmic result of the early part of his life when he was a robber. So this is a case where he is kind. But because he was kind in the later part of his life, but earlier he had a cruel period. So now, even though he is kind, he must first pay the karmic result. After that, good fortune will come. Therefore, they say, why is that person kind but suffering? Because of three cases. They are kind but too passive and indifferent. They are kind but see others in distress and don't help. They are kind, but before that they had a cruel period. There's another case where a kind person suffers a terrible karmic result because their kindness harms others. For example, Mahatma Gandhi. Once, a Buddhist asked us, "Teacher, my child asked me this question. In Buddhism, it is said that what cause you sow, you reap that result. Why did Mahatma Gandhi of India, who advocated nonviolence to gain independence for India, advocating that if someone hits you, you endure it and don't hit back to gain independence for India, why was he eventually shot and killed? Where is the karma in that?" And indeed, this question is difficult to answer. We replied, it was precisely Gandhi's nonviolence that harmed very many Indians. His philosophy was like this. Once, the British forbade Indians from making salt. They wanted the British to have a monopoly on salt and sell it at a high price. Gandhi called on the Indian people to go down to the beach and make salt themselves. The British soldiers stood in the way and prevented them from going down. Anyone who went down was immediately beaten with sticks. And the Indians who followed Gandhi's advice did not retaliate, they practiced nonviolence. The soldiers hit them on the head with sticks, and they immediately fell down. Then the next person stepped forward without resisting. The next person stepped forward and the soldiers hit them with a stick and they fell down again. And so on. After a while, the soldiers were afraid because too many people were lying down, so they didn't dare to hit anymore. Then the people who followed were able to go down to the beach, take seawater, and make salt. So it was precisely Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolence that caused countless Indians to be beaten and killed by the British, right? They didn't defend themselves. So, the nonviolence of Mahatma Gandhi caused many Indians to be tormented and killed. Therefore, even a saint must suffer karmic retribution. Finally, the saint was shot and killed. So, karma is just. It's just that we don't fully see it. Karma is always just. We must believe that. The cruel but prosperous paradox. As for why a cruel person is rich and prosperous? Why? Because we see this person is cruel, but before there was a hidden enthusiasm in their cruelty. That is, if they saw someone in hardship in the village, that person would be the first to organize. Gathering bamboo from one person, bricks from another, to build a house for that person. Even though he was cruel, he was enthusiastic. So now his cruelty remains, but he must also be rich. Only later will he pay the karmic result of his cruelty. It's the opposite of the kind person who does nothing. This person is cruel but constantly interferes to help others. Often, they speak harshly to people, but they have enthusiasm. So they are cruel but rich. Or some cruel people have a chivalrous spirit. That person is a rough, bearded ruffian. But whenever someone in the village is bullied, that person takes a stick and comes out first to protect the villagers. If they hear that there are thieves or robbers invading or someone causing trouble in the village, that person takes a stick and blocks the village entrance first, protecting the village. Is that person kind or cruel? Cruel, but they have merit, right? It's precisely because they are cruel but have merit, they protect the village, allowing people to live and work in peace. So later, that person is cruel but rich, clearly so. Therefore, police officers are also like that. If a police officer is upright, is there any police officer who is kind? Rarely. Police officers usually look tough and fierce, but they have merit in protecting the peace for the people. So, a police officer who is upright usually becomes rich at the end of their life. Not because of bribery, okay? They are also rich in the next life. Cruel but rich, that's the reason. And a cruel person who later becomes poor, that's because in their previous life, they helped people with arrogance, helped people with contempt. So, in this life they are initially rich, but later they will become poor because their arrogance in helping others with contempt will result in karmic retribution. They will be rich but cruel, and eventually they will become poor. Everyday karma, what we disregard, we lose. Now let's talk about a few more points of karma. We're almost out of time. We'll just touch on a few more points. These are karmic principles. Whatever we disregard, that thing will be lost. For example, we have friends, but we despise them. In the future, we will be lonely, no one will be our friend anymore. If we don't like children, we won't have children in the future. Remember that. Once, a woman came and asked, "Teacher, my husband and I have been married for many years and have no children. What should I do?" We replied, "Listen to what our ancestors said. Love children, children will come to your house. Respect elders, elders will prolong your life." That is, as long as you can love children, not just your own, but all children, you will naturally have children. She said, "I don't love children much. Sometimes even my grandchildren, I just hold them for a while and then let them go. I don't really love them." That's wrong. Now, if you want to have children, you must do great good deeds for children everywhere. That is, in your village, in your neighborhood, in any house that has children. Go and give them clothes. Give them a can of milk. That is, express your love for children. If you treat many children with love, you will have children. Believe that. That is karma. And it's precisely because you don't love children that children don't come to your house. No one will be reborn in your house as your child. Remember that. Or, if we don't respect elders, we will die early. Therefore, when we meet elders, we must respect them, be affectionate, and comply with them. Remember that. Why? Because elders have lived through a lifetime of ups and downs, hardships, and now at that age, it's time for them to enjoy peace and happiness. Therefore, all of us must have the duty to love elders. That is the morality of Vietnamese life and of Buddhism always. We go out and meet an old person, even if that old person is difficult or complains a lot, we must always comply, always be good. Always say, "Yes, ma'am/sir." Remember that. We must always love them because old people can change their personality, can become grumpy, but because we love old people, we love the morality of Vietnam, we still have to comply, still have to worry about them. Remember that. A child who is unfilial to their parents, what happens in the next life? If they treat their parents cruelly, what happens? In the next life, they will have no parents. That is, they will be an orphan. Remember that. So, some people are orphans because in their previous life, they were unfilial to their parents. Remember that. Karma and the web of life. And a person who does not love humanity, what will they become in the next life? A person who lives with others like this but does not love humanity, does not love people, what will they become in the next life? They will not live with humans anymore. That is, they will live with animals, right? A person who does not know how to love people will be reborn as an animal in the next life. Remember that. Therefore, we are present with each other in this life. Let's love each other. Let's love people, then in the next life, we will be human. Remember that. A person who often cuts down forests, who does not cherish life, what happens in the next life? In the next life, there will be no life. What does that mean? It means that after they die, they wander as hungry ghosts, unable to be reborn again. Remember that. But a person who loves forests, cherishes every green tree, cherishes every green shoot, protects the forest, that person, after death, is very easily reborn in a happy place. Karma and wealth. Now, let's talk about money. A person who has money and wastes it will have no money in the future. For example, that money could have supported many people, but we use it for a drinking binge worth millions of dong, or gamble away tens of millions, or give lavish gifts to the wrong person. Some rich people don't know what to do, so they invite a beautiful girl to eat with them and immediately give her 1 million dong. Giving to the wrong person means that such a person will have no money in the future. And why will they have no money? Because they will end up in prison, so they won't have any money. Therefore, wasting money means no money. Second, being stingy and not giving charity also means no money. For example, we hide 100 million dong at home, but we don't help the poor. Then that 100 million dong will be lost. Because a stingy person will lose all their money. A wasteful person will lose all their money. A stingy person will also lose all their money. Only a person who uses money precisely, who is both frugal and generous, who spends reasonably on themselves and helps those who deserve help, that person's money will gradually increase. That is, they will gradually have a little, then more and more. At first, they have 10 million dong in their safe, but when something happens, they spend 2 or 3 million, 5 or 7 million. But later, it will recover to 20 million. And from that 20 million, they spend very precisely, spending exactly where it needs to be, being both frugal and helping those who need help. Even if it decreases, it will later increase sharply to 50 million. This means that if money is spent precisely, it will grow more and more. But if it's spent wrongly, either wastefully or stingily, the money will gradually be lost. Karma and beauty. Now, let's talk about karma regarding beauty. Beauty is very important. A beautiful face is very necessary in this life. It is also a source of pride, our good fortune. But the mind within is the cause and the external appearance is the effect. A beautiful mind will result in a beautiful face. We remember karma is like that. Let's look in the mirror and at our face to know our mind. If one day we look in the mirror and see our face is beautiful, know that over time, our mind has been beautiful. But if we look in the mirror and see our face is swollen, then know that our mind is ugly, our mind is very narrow. Therefore, if we want to have beautiful looks, cultivate a beautiful inner self. Don't waste money on cosmetic surgery. Use that money to do good deeds, and your face will be beautiful, a lasting beauty. If we want to be beautiful but only care about external appearance, we will eventually decline. So, every time we generate a heart of compassion for others, our face becomes a little more beautiful. Every time we get angry with someone, our face becomes a little uglier. It's like that, and that's how we know about beauty. Every time we prostrate to the Buddha, our face becomes a little more beautiful. Every time we despise someone, our face becomes a little uglier. Every time we are arrogant and think we are superior, our face becomes a little uglier. Every time we humble ourselves, are modest, and respect others, our face becomes a little more beautiful. Those are the most wonderful cosmetic methods. So, there is no cosmetic method as beautiful as these. Loving people, respecting people, prostrating to the Buddha, helping people. Those are the most wonderful cosmetics. No cosmetic surgeon can compare to these methods. So, that's how it is, okay? Finding our path through karma. Time is up now. We'll just add a few more points. Sometimes we don't have a job. So, according to karma, we should just do good deeds. If we keep doing good deeds, we will naturally not be unemployed. Remember that. But when we have a job and we are indifferent or lazy, we will lose our job later. When we work, we must be dedicated. Besides our daily work, we must also do good deeds. Then our lives will gradually become smoother and smoother. Today, We talked about the meaning of suffering and happiness and some rules of karma so that from now on, we know how to guide our lives to where we want them to be. If we want to be beautiful, love people and be kind. If we want to be rich, use money precisely. If we want karmic results to increase many times, give charity and help others with all our heart. We will steer our lives to where we want them to go. And not just ourselves, we will also bring this teaching of karma, this faith in the Buddha Dharma, to many others. First, help our children, our family, then our neighbors, friends, and relatives. If everyone believes in karma, if everyone believes in the Buddha Dharma, this life will become a beautiful paradise. Before concluding, we respectfully wish all venerable monastics and dear Buddhists good health, abundant good fortune and prosperity in life, advancement in their spiritual practice, and the ability to do many good deeds. And finally, may everyone work together to build a peaceful and happy society and a thriving and developing Dharma. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Homage to our original teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha.